Reflecting on EFC's engagement this past year and the many projects and initiatives that we undertook, we thought we'd tell you a few of the stories as told by our partners and affiliates, and also hear from two former members of Parliament about EFC's engagement on Parliament Hill.
The EFC has played a very important role in leading the Evangelical church movement in Canada, and certainly one of the things that I think is critical to that leadership is to encourage people to pray. And so I think it's been a good initiative of them to encourage congregations to pray. And this is a time that we need to pray for our government. We need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray for a number of things, including that people will be able to have civil discourse and discussion about the issues that are so important to us in our country.
The EFC has supported our ministry in so many ways. Most recently, come to think of it, would be having a feature article that we were able to write about planting a multicultural church. Dr. Santos and myself were able to showcase and talk about a church plant, trying to reach out to not just the Filipino community, but the wider community in the GTA. On top of that, we also had the opportunity of doing a podcast with Karen Stiller. Dr. Robert Cousins and I talked a little bit more about the training that we do across intercultural competency to build up the skills of leaders, to be able to really bridge those differences between cultural groups and communities to reach a more truer and deeper multiculturalism in Canada.
We really are stronger together. I mean, that's a term that's used a lot these days, but we really believe that as we band together around common principles and objectives for family health, we will actually accomplish together more than we could all accomplish separately. And so we did a bit of a needs assessment. What's the state of families? That led us to the EFC, where we met with them and we said, one of the things that really seemed to be missing is a statement on family in Canada and faith formation in families in Canada. And so when we met with the EFC, there was an appetite there to say, this is a serious question, and having now met with 25 organizations over the first few months of this year, that had whetted their appetites as organizations say, we really don't know, but what is the key question we need to ask families? And so that's why, we're really excited that EFC as a national organization is able to, from a neutral space, bring these organizations together and actually collaborate to ask and answer the question of what is the state of families in Canada, especially when it comes to faith formation, and what are some of the initiatives we can launch together that will actually strengthen families in Canada. I believe families can be our greatest apologetic to a world that really needs to hear the truth and the grace of God.
Getting to attend the Faith and Family Formation consultation was immeasurable. I got to meet people who really inspired me to continue doing what I'm doing, but also I'm going to get to work with a lot of them too. And we left with a lot of questions about how we can better serve families in Canada in putting Jesus and relevant resources in order to bring Jesus to children and families as well.
I think EFC does bring value by bringing people together to get them to talk, to understand how can we accomplish something. And when it's about a value issue, an issue of deep conscience, your party's often not a guide. You don't always want it to be a guide. And that's where organizations, and in particular the EFC, can be of great strength and use to members of Parliament. And over the last while, there's been a campaign, which the EFC has been involved in, on conscience issues for doctors. We have many dedicated Christian medical professionals who are beginning to understand their freedom to practice as Christians may be disappearing. The EFC has helped to mobilize congregations and individuals to speak out, to contact, and that's something I value.
We represent 1,700 Christian doctors across Canada, and the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada has been a godsend to us in our battles around the conscience issue. The EFC has helped us in the courtroom with our challenges there, with our advocacy with government, and with making the members of EFC aware of the challenges the Christian doctors face.
Well, after reading the email from EFC in which they outlined the issue that was facing our physicians, I contacted a good friend of mine who's been a member of my church for many, many years, long before I got here. I've known him for the last 8.5 years, Dr. Betcher.
The congregation really responded to the Call for Conscience campaign, and we got nearly 300 letters that day.
I first heard about Pastor Spear and Dr. Betcher through an email that I got from Dr. Betcher indicating that they had generated almost 300 letters from their congregation. So I was just so pleased that that EFC connection had generated this fantastic opportunity for our Call for Conscience campaign.
I believe that the EFC leads in research, development, and again, uniting the country in issues that face the local church. In most recent years, we worked really closely with the EFC on the whole summer grant situation from the federal government. we reached out to the EFC, and I had the privilege of working with David Goretzky on this piece. And it was through their encouragement and information that really we actually took some time and went to meet with our MPs. And it was an incredible experience. We had a conversation with them about what we do and why we wanted to be part of the summer grant, program, and how we do it and what we do. And the relationships with our MPs was incredible. In fact, this last year, because of the ongoing support of the MPs, one of the MPs actually came to the church to see the work we were doing with the summer students. And the summer student program that is funded by the federal government has been such an intricate part of us developing leaders. And part and parcel on how we went about that was because of the insights and really the support of the EFC during this time.
These are just a few of the issues we engaged in this past year: having impact and influence, bringing a credible and reasoned voice to Parliament Hill and to the courts, working with churches and ministry organizations across Canada for effective witness. We could not do this without your help. Thank you for your prayers and for your support.